Doctor. Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of The Kim Jacobs Show. Be sure to subscribe to The Kim Jacobs Show right on YouTube. Turn on your notification bell to all so you never miss a beat. And guess what? Every time you watch, you're going to receive a real relevant and relatable guest that's going to share with you a piece of the puzzle on this journey called life that will help you be able to manage just a little bit smoother. At the end of the day, the Kim Jacobs Show goal is to be able to provide balance to the world, one household at a time.
Kim Jacobs Show. You're watching Kim Jacobs Show.
Hello. Welcome to this episode of the Kim Jacobs Show. I am so happy to be here with you all today on this International Women's Day. You can't get a better situation than that, right? We are here today in honor of International Women's Day, and today we have some women that I think would be well representative of International Women's Day. So we have with us Dr. Caroline, and we also have Namal, and it is a great pleasure to have you all here today. How are you all?
Doing great. Lovely to be here. Thank you.
Glad.
You're doing wonderful. Thank you for having us.
So glad to have you both. Listen, everybody, grab your virtual seats, share the broadcast, let people know that the Kim Jacobs Show is on. And today we're going to be talking about Every Girl Wins. Every girl wins. How important it is for every single girl in the entire world to win at this thing called life. So when we're talking about how we're balancing different aspects of our lives, girls have to have the opportunity to win and to thrive and to be empowered and to know that we make a difference as we salt this earth, right? So when we talk with today's guest, we're going to learn more about an initiative that Dr. Christine Kozachuk spearheaded, and it's called Every Girl Wins. And every girl has a right to win. So we're going to be talking about that throughout today's discussion. So grab your virtual seats and share the broadcast. We'll be right back after this commercial break, and I'm going to give a formal introduction to these beautiful women that are represented here today. We'll be right back.
I'm attorney Kenneth D. Snow, and at the Snow Legal Group, justice is our job.
For more than 20 years, Attorney Snow has been fighting for justice and winning cases in the Carolinas by providing aggressive representation in criminal defense, domestic violence, family law, serious injury, and wrongful death. If you've been injured or lost a loved one in an accident, including tractor trailer or rideshare, you need the Snow Legal Group by your side, fighting for justice and fighting for you. Visit snowlegal.com. Call 704-358-0026 for a free virtual consultation. Located at 6827 Fairview Road, Suite D in South Park.
Hey everyone, and we are back. We are back with these women that are going to be sharing some powerful information with us today. Let me start by introducing each of them. Namal Day was born in Olang, South Sudan, and was separated from her family and forced to flee her home. I'm going to let her talk about that because I could read a whole lot about this and where she had to go, thousands of refugees, that it's a lot to the story. So I'm going to give you the opportunity, Namal, to actually share your own journey and what happened. Right now, she lives somewhere else, and I'll let her talk about that too. She currently is the founder of, is it Condiel Kale International? So South Sudan Reads, is that what it is?
Yes.
All right. In honor of her mother, and who did everything to help her and her family survive. Condiel Kale, which means together, has a mission to improve lives through education and community-related activities, programs, and learning centers. They engage in and empower and build and develop and connect people locally and globally. So we're going to learn a lot more about this initiative. And Namal was also invited to participate in a dialogue in the Washington, D.C. area at the U.S. Peace Institute to discuss combating hate speech related to the violent conflict in South Sudan. She participated in leadership development with the New Leadership Development Institute of MSUM, the North Dakota Women's Network, the North Dakota Farmer Union, and the Change Network. And she has served as former humanitarian deputy for the Alliance for South Sudanese in Diaspora, which was former school board candidate. She's a member of the United Nations Association and a board member for North Dakota Human Rights Coalition. Welcome, Namal, to the Kim Jacobs Show. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I truly appreciate you. And I just want to say to everyone out there, happy International Women's Day. And to you, Dr. Caroline and Kim, I just want to say happy International Women's Days as well. As you mentioned, you want me to speak about my background and how I end up here, probably in the United States. I left home when I was like 8 years old due to the war from South Sudan because of the killing. So if you did your research or anybody out there heard about it, there was 2.5 million people has been killed. As of today, probably more than that has been killed within South Sudan. I tackled practically from South Sudan walking barefoot as a child at probably 5 or 4 years old, which I remember. And we fled into Ethiopia. Once we fled into the Ethiopia, and then also we stayed there as a refugees people. And in 1991, the war broke out again. We came back into South Sudan, where I almost drowned because I was only 6. But with grace of God, I was I'm here, to say, what, I have a story to tell, because I know that I'm one of those lucky few who actually here today, because many of those young people have lost their life. And then from there in 1994, we end up walking again into South Sudan, to Ethiopia, and then from Ethiopia to from Gambela to Addis Ababa. These are Ethiopia, and then from Addis Ababa, and then we crossed over. We crossed the river, which is like around 2 a.m. or so, because they don't want people to cross over the border because of the securities. So we end up sneaking into the border of Kenya, where a couple of people has been eaten by the wild animal, by crocodiles, and so many more, and that you can never imagine. Then we crossed into Kenya. We got detained to the point where we almost lost our lives. It was me, my aunts, and my uncles, and my cousins. So that almost happened, but we had to end up bribing some of the Kenyans security guard to be able to release us. So they put us in like a truck, where they're smuggling people in. So we got smuggled into Kenya, and that's how we able to come to a refugees camp called Dadaab. And then from there, we were really grateful. And there was a UN aid worker who were able to give us a form to use for us to come to US. And that's how I ended up in the United States. Yes, I have lost my family. I lost 3 brothers. So I lost my mom, and my dad is still here. He's in Ethiopia right now. But I'm always grateful for my journeys and everything that has been done. Also, too, just me being here in the United States for the first time was so interesting, because I didn't speak no English at all. I started going to school at age of 12 at 7th grade, and I did my best to speak English within a month. So I was just so eager to learn about life, about a new language, and way to be able to say, what, I can do better. I can do better for myself. I can do better for my community. I can do better for the world, or the community that I live in right now, because I'm so active in it. So that being said, I was able to combat a lot of things in life where I just put God into place first to make sure that I accomplished what I wanted to do. And then on top of that, I have, even though I haven't seen my mom, I always have the voice to say, you know what, Nyamal, you can do it. You can do it. Just remember that as long as you are consistent, you are persistent, consistent, you are
Mm.
working hard and to make sure that you accomplish everything, and make sure that too as well, when you have perseverances, it's so important to have those qualities, because not a lot of people do. You have to just keep continue to put yourself, even when one road is closed, that they always say, the other door is open, right? So that's what I've been tackling in my life. So, and then I graduated high school at a younger, around 16 years old, because somehow, they messed up my age somewhere, but I'm still lucky. Um, so here I am, to say, what, I'm here with you all today to say my story a little bit, because if we go deep into it, we can go in for hours and hours, which that's not what we want. We want to make sure that, this day is International Women Day, and we get to celebrate Every Girl Win Day. And I was very fortunate to be lucky to say, what, thank you to Dr. Caroline, because Dr. Caroline was the one that who actually appointed me, to become a South Sudan ambassador or representative within the international Every Girl Win Day. So because she saw my work, I was the founder of CONCAL International. It actually used to be called South Sudan Read. So we just changed, we transitioned a little bit, from South Sudan Read to CONCAL International. And that's the reason why we put in the South Sudan in there. So if somebody's trying to research that, they will know that it is South Sudan Read, but we changed the name into CONCAL International because it means so much to us, because of the mission of it and the name of it. It means that we are coming together as a community, that we are united as people, and that we can come together as wolves, because that's the most important thing that we want. We don't want to hate each other. We don't want to do what normally what other people do, because we use hate, but that's what you want. We want to use love in order for us to unite the world and our communities and where we live, because the power of love changed so much in our lives. Back in South Sudan, we currently are working in South Sudan as well. We do a lot of women empowerment. We do a lot of after school program. We do a lot of mosquito nets. We bring in mosquito net to the individuals who are affected by the flood. So these key things that we do a lot in back home in South Sudan, and we are in an initiative right now to work so hard to put in a peace initiative, because a lot of our people are dying left and right every night. Like right now as we speak, there's a war down there in the BA South Sudan, where it's like almost 30 people or more people has been killed. So it is so honor, to just be here today to represent South Sudan, and to also to represent International Women Day. International Win Day Institute was for Dr. Christina. So I'm just honored to be here. Thank you.
Wow. You said so much that I wanted to interject and ask some questions, but your story is so life altering that I had to just let it flow, because I can't even imagine what you've been through. For you to be 8 years old, fleeing a country, having to get smuggled in to another, and the people that smuggled you in, you had your brothers that you're no longer connected with. You don't know whether they are alive or they passed. You don't know anything, do you?
They passed away, three of them.
Oh, okay. Okay. And your mom as well, she passed away too?
Mhm.
Oh, man. Well, guess what? We know that obviously they're celebrating with you and your journey, even from heaven. And I believe that with my whole heart, that we have people that are just cheering us on, saying, you're still representing us. You shine, you're a bright star, and they're just celebrating you. And your dad, you said, is in Ethiopia. Do you all get a chance to ever reconnect at all?
Of course, yes. I travel there,
Oh,
but it will be interesting for me to travel into South Sudan now because that's my goal now. So,
okay. You said that's your goal?
mhm.
Okay. So now when all of this has transpired in your life, there are people that are watching today, and we as women, we go through so many different trials and tribulations and circumstances and things that happen in our lives, and it seems like really burdensome, like it's too much to handle. What advice would you give people, Namal, that would let them know as women today on International Women's Day that they can make it, they can persevere, they can check with another door, they can keep pushing? What advice would you give?
Well, thank you so much for for saying that. As a mother, because I have a 15 years old daughter, um, we've been going in and out, from since I was pregnant, and she was in my belly. We went to schools. I finished my 2 year. I finished my 4 years with her. I finished my master. So, my advice to all the women out there is keep pushing, keep pushing, keep working hard, be consistent, because consistency, it's so
Yeah.
important, because for me that's what really helped me. There was a lady that her name is Dr. Molly Secord that I did a research with at North Dakota State University. She saw it in me that I sometimes can lack back, but then she's like, Namal, do you want this or not? I said I want it. Then she said, then be consistent.
Mhm.
Be consistent. Consistency is the key. It doesn't matter what life throw at you. Say it to yourself. You don't have to say it in front of everybody. You can say it. You can go to the mirror and you can say, please, Lord, help me. I can get through this. I can get this through this day and tomorrow and the next day and the day after, because those things are so important. You have to learn to motivate yourself because nobody else is going to motivate you sometimes.
Yes.
You have to learn to motivate. You have to find that key consistency in you, saying that, what, I can do it, anything. Just saying that I can't, is so important. Like that, what like Obama said, yes, we can. Yes, we can. Of course we can,
Of course we can.
because we can.
Yeah.
When I see women struggling, I said, say it to yourself. Just look at yourself in the mirror and say, you can do it.
So
It
just
doesn't matter how
everybody take
bad
a
your day
moment
is.
right now. Everybody take a
Yes.
moment right now and just look, even if you're just looking at the show screen, and say, I can do it. Yes, I
Yes.
can. I
I
can do
can
it.
do it.
Of
I can do
course.
it. Yes, I
Yes.
can. And Dr.
Yes.
Caroline, I want to hear too. I know I'm going to introduce you right after this commercial break, but since we're talking about just words of encouragement right quick, please chime in, and then I'll still formally introduce you after the commercial break. But please share
Yes.
your feedback too.
Wonderful. It's really an honor to be here. Thank you, Nyamal. Happy International Women's Day to all the women around the world. Let's break the bias. Let's break any bias that is pushing us behind. Let's break them in every area of our lives, in our communities. My message to women around the world is a word that I was given by the former president of Mauritius. She was the first female president of Mauritius, Her Excellency Professor Amina Gurib Fakim. She told me, Caroline, excellence has no gender. Excellent in your ways. They are not going to push you off the table because you're a woman. You will always have a seat at the table because of your excellence. So that's the word I want to give to women today.
Well, that takes us right to a commercial break.
Yes.
We get ready to hear some more powerful words from another international woman that's represented today, Dr. Caroline, and we will be introducing her right after this commercial break. I'm going to talk more with you, Namal. I'm excited about everything that you've already shared. I want to hear even more about some of the projects that you're working on throughout this broadcast. I know you're now in South Dakota. So
North Dakota.
right, huh?
North Dakota.
Oh, yeah, North Dakota. I done South Sudan and North Dakota, right? You don't been everywhere, but you're now in North Dakota, and I want to hear about some of the projects that you're working on there as well. I see a lot of them listed, but I do
Mhm.
want us to hear more about them throughout today's broadcast. Okay, so you can
Definitely,
prepare your
definitely.
mind for that. All right, we'll be right back, everyone. I'm going to pop you over here, Dr. Caroline, because when we come back, I'm going to be introducing you to everyone that's tuned in today. Listen, everybody, don't deprive anyone on this International Women's Day, where we are celebrating women from all walks of life. It doesn't matter what your shape, your size, your color, your complexion, what you've been through. Today is International Women's Day, and we celebrate every single woman around the globe. So when we come back right after this commercial break, we're going to hear from Dr. Caroline. So we'll be right back.
It's not just another day, it's a brand new day, full of all the fun, love, and laughter you and your family create. Silver Shield Security understands feeling at home means feeling safe and happy. No credit checks, no contracts. We offer payment arrangements, and we'll even give you a free door camera. Find out how we can brighten your day even more at silvershield-security.com. Silver Shield Security.
All right, everyone, and we are back, and we are getting ready to hear from Dr. Caroline Opinde. I am so excited to be able to introduce her to all of you. Dr. Caroline Opinde is an award-winning global consultant, social innovator, and the founder and CEO of the NGO Whisper. We're going to learn what that's about, and she's going to talk to us about that initiative that she has done, and it's high impact. There are master classes, all kinds of global fellowship, and you name it is happening at NGO Whisperer. But she's a seasoned resource mobilization specialist who's raised over $100 million. That's US dollars, okay? Let's be clear, United States dollars, and managed various projects worth over $20 million US dollars. Dr. Opinde is an international speaker. She's an evangelist for social entrepreneurship, and she has spoken to audiences over 5,000, sharing the stage with even the former president, Bill Clinton, Bishop T.D. Jakes, Deepak Chopra, and founders and CEOs of leading Fortune 500 companies such as PayPal, Nike, Walmart, Yahoo, Hollywood celebrities. That's just to name a little bit of them, okay? The point is, I am so honored to have Dr. Caroline Opinde here with us today. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Miss Kim. It's really an honor to be here on your show.
It's an honor to have you, and I am excited to hear that you are representing which area for Every Girl Wins. Talk to us about that, and then I definitely want us to talk about the NGO Whisperer.
I am the representative of South Africa. South Africa is one of the most developed nations in Africa, but at the same time, it has a history of apartheid, a history of discrimination against people of color or Black people. And so those disparities from the past are still lingering on. And the most affected by this are women, regardless of their color, and
Right.
children. Especially when you speak about women, you also speak about girls. And that's why I am so honored to be here today on the International Women's Day, speaking about issues that women in South Africa face.
I am so glad to have you here because it's very unfortunate that right now in 2022 that we're having this discussion, that people are still being treated unfairly, unequal, not being considered at the table, and yet it happens not just in South Africa but around the globe. We're experiencing that no matter where we are. What advice would you give people that would be possibly tuning in or getting a whiff of this broadcast that are some decision makers that should be considering us as women more? What advice would you give to those people to be able to better consider us as women as they're making some decisions on whether to pull us in or not?
One of the important things to consider today is the education of women and girls. You know, South Africa is a country of so many opportunities, yet still women are lagging behind. You know, if you look at the literacy rates of women, yes, it should be a little bit higher than it is, because in the democratic South Africa, there's a lot of opportunity for people of color, for Black people, for races, you know, and so all these opportunities are available. However, it is the mindset that we come with from where we come from. And so, a message to anyone around the world, and it's not just in South Africa where there are disparities, where literacy level for women and girls is lower. It's so common in so many low and income countries. And so, the message that I would really love to drive home is offer opportunities, improve access of opportunities to education, access to quality education, access to early childhood education. That's very important when children are growing up, that they grow up in an environment where they feel safe and in an environment where they are cared for. Right now, South Africa is among the top 5 countries in the world when it comes to gender-based violence and abuse against children. You know, a woman in South Africa is 5 times more prone to gender-based violence, regardless of her age. You know, we are talking from age 0 to age 100 plus. Women are exposed to gender-based violence, and I'm not talking about just the verbal abuse. I'm talking about sexual violence and assault. And this is very common and very prone, to the point that, you know, in 2019, there was a demonstration after one of the university students went into a post office, you know, to do transactions at a post office, and she was raped by a post office employee inside the post office, where you think in broad daylight, how could somebody do this? And this created an uproar, and there was a shift in the advocacy world when you talk about gender-based violence advocacy. And this is very close to my heart. You know I mentioned I representative of South Africa, but I'm also Kenyan. So I represent many nations. I'm Kenyan, lived in South Africa for many years, most of my adult life, you know, working there, and now I live in Manchester, United Kingdom. Yesterday, we're not talking about South Africa, but I want to drop this in because it is around the issues of gender based violence.
Yeah.
Yesterday, on Forest Road in Nairobi, Kenya, a beautiful lady was driving her car. It's all over the news. And then she got involved in an accident. And as she was in the process of finding out what's happening, there are all these motorbike taxis owners who came and assaulted her in broad daylight, to the point of wanting to undress her. And it was such a horrendous thing. She was screaming at the top of her voice. And this is something in many countries. Let's not just focus on Africa, but even in the United States and many other parts of the world. So this issue that I'm talking about, gender-based violence, is not just a thing that happens in African nations. It's all over the world. And so educating children and letting them know that they can speak up when they are in a situation where they feel unsafe is very important from the time when they are little. That's really important. So that's early childhood education. When you talk about primary school education for many girls in South Africa is always stopped, because when girls get their periods, which is something to be celebrated about, when a girl walks into womanhood,
Right.
unfortunately for many of these girls, they cannot go to school because they do not have the feminine products for them to have to enjoy their womanhood with dignity. And so the issue of sanitary towels and the period poverty is affecting so many girls from low income communities. Yes, the schools are there. Yes, education is available. But if these girls do not have sanitary towels, the big issue is for about 1 week every month, these girls miss school. In a year, that is equivalent to how many months? That's 12 weeks in a year.
Ridiculous.
And so for 12 weeks, you're competing with boys, you're competing with the whole world because, we are in a global community and you want to be a doctor. But every year, 12 weeks, you are out of school because you cannot afford
Wow.
sanitary towels, and that is pushing so many girls to stay behind. So today, as we speak about breaking the bias, I really want to encourage people. There are so many organizations that are distributing sanitary towels and keeping girls in school. Any woman, any man who is listening to me right now, I would like you today to take aside some money, buy 12 packs of sanitary towels, distribute it to organizations that are actually registered and are doing this work of ending period poverty, so that that one girl can have 12 packets to last her for the rest of 2022 and attend school. That's my call to action to all South Africans who are listening and to men and women around the world. Support girls
Wow.
to stay in school.
Okay. Wow. I'm typing everything around the world. This is unbelievable. Do you know by chance? I mean, I know people can Google, but anytime you're Googling things, sometimes it's not always that you get to the most reputable sources. Do you know of any particular organizations that do receive these type of uh, products so that we can help?
Absolutely, absolutely. There are a number of organizations that do this. There are a number of organizations that do different types of sanitary towels, and you can support them. Some have reusable sanitary towels because those are more sustainable.
Right.
And there is one organization that I work with. They are called Beginet, Beginet, Beginet. It's a South African organization, and they distribute reusable sanitary towels that women and girls can use. They work mainly in rural areas and in the farmlands where there are large farms and there are farm workers, and of course there are children that belong to the farm workers, and also the wives, of the farm workers. So then there is another organization that distributes the menstrual cups, and this is Princess D Menstrual Cup. And the way to partner with them is to donate, and they distribute these menstrual cups to girls in schools in South Africa. So those are the two organizations that I can endorse today because I have worked with them, I continue to work with them and speak about their work. Behenet and Princess D Menstrual Cup.
Okay, I put both of these up. Begin it, and it's
One
BEGINNET.
N. One
Okay,
N.
okay. I'll correct that. Let me take that
Yeah.
off. And then also Princess D Menstrual Cup.
Princess D is one word, Menstrual Cup. That's
Okay.
another organization.
Princess D is one
D.
word, and then Menstrual Cup is a different word.
Yes, so it's called Princess D Menstrual Cup. It's actually an organization that was named after one of our honorees at the Every Girl Wins South Africa. Her mother founded the organization with her, and she's called Daksha Ramjawan. So the D there is her name, Daksha.
Okay, so it's
So
like
it's
this,
Princess
Princess
D
D.
Menstrual Cup. Yeah. They
Okay.
can Google that and find how to support women and girls,
Please make
especially
sure you
girls to
all
stay in school.
please make sure you all Google Princess D Menstrual Cup, and also the Begin It with I'll spell that at BEGINET. D.
Beginnet in Afrikaans. In Afrikaans, it means begin now. Don't
Okay.
wait. Don't wait, just begin.
Okay, so these are two organizations that Dr. Caroline is endorsing today that she knows is reputable in providing menstrual products, whether it's sanitary napkins or menstrual cups, whatever it is that they provide. If you get with these organizations and donate some type of supplies to them, they will get them to the children and the girls that need them in those communities. Okay. All right. Wow.
Absolutely. And if they don't know what to do, they can just reach out to us at info@ngowhisperer.com, and we will lead them to organizations and people of good reputation in South Africa.
Whisper, and it's at WHISPERER.com.
Yes, ngowhisperer.com.
All right. So you
And
can
there you
also
can
reach
connect with
out
us.
to Dr. Caroline right at info@ngowhisperer.com. And I'm saying that for our podcast listeners, okay? Info@ngowhisperer.com. Wow. This is some great information that you're sharing. Now, when we come back, what I would like for you all to talk about is just how the overall every girl wins came into your hearts. How did you say, you know what, I want to be the representative in these particular countries? I would be interested in hearing that right after this commercial break. If you all have any questions or comments or thoughts that you want to share with our guests today, please pop them in the comment section. I'll also give you this link if you want to come on stage with us. This is the link that you would just copy and paste in your browser, and it will bring you right into the broadcast. So feel free on this International Women's Day to be able to come in and be a part of today's discussion, front and center with us if you'd like. Okay. I did put the article that is definitely a viral situation where Kenyans are angered by the video of a female motorist that was harassed by ongoers and molested, and all manner of things happen. And so I did put that article right here in the comment section for you to be able to look at that. That should never be happening just because someone is of an opposite sex. So that makes everybody be on edge. And you're like, I'm just trying to go to the post office. I'm just trying to ride as a free citizen in society. And I have to experience something like that. That's very sad in today's society. Should never happen. But thank you for bringing us that awareness, Dr. Caroline. And Namal, is there anything you wanted to say pertaining to what Dr. Caroline has been saying before I go to a commercial break?
Thank you. Thank you, Kim. Yes, actually, everything that Dr. Caroline just spoke about, everything about the sanitary issues, about the school issues,
Right.
about everything else. These are the things that are happening within South Sudan. Now, keep in mind, South Africa is a bit more developed. It's actually developed than the South Sudan. South Sudan is not even developed yet. There's still war going on. There's still tribalism going on. There's still child marriage where children, like young girls, are being married off as early like 13 years old or so. So when you look at that, and then on top of that, many of them are dying during childbirth. I actually was one of my nieces, she was 13 years old and she got pregnant. So now, thank God to medical worker who were able to help her out. But compared to many million more other girls that are out there that are just practically being forced into child marriages and being forced into labor, many of our women do not have that right. Even though we are trying our best right now as we speak, there are women, like South Sudanese Intellectual Forum that I will be speaking after this. Is another thing, that's a breakthrough right there. Yes, there are many other women, who work so hard to make sure that a lot of women's voice are being heard. Now, when you look at that too, education is another issue.
Right.
Education, many of them are like 70% of women are illiterate, and for me, the way that I see it, or just how it should be, is when you actually are educating your woman in your community, your community actually grow. because that's
Right.
how it should be. But our people do not understand that. And for South Sudanese people that are living out there or just listening to this show, I am encouraging you to support your sister to be able to continue their education, because the education is the key to their future and is the key to their success. Even if she's married off later on, she can still have those resources with her to be able to say, you know what, I have my education, I can go find a job and support my kids. Even she's married into maybe 5 more other wives or so, she can still support those kids. Now, even if we go into healthcare, that's another issues, because healthcare is a big issues in South Sudan.
Right.
Many women are dying during childbirth because the lack of medical doctor. And I can tell you that I don't think we even have 5,000 or more, probably less than 2,000 or less than that, to be exact. Last time that I looked at the article was only 200 position. And because of the tribal war that going on within South Sudan, some of them are being killed doing their humanitarian work. So when you look at that, most of these people are dying. When you go into a media, you'll say, oh, so and so has been killed, or so and so die into the hospital because there are no doctor available to be able to assist them. It's even worse. Now there's a lot of things that Dr. Caroline did spoke about, even gender-based violence. That's what a lot of our women go through every day, because it's just horrifying. My mom went through it. I saw it. Not only on top of that, too, women are being raped every day. So they can't skip anything. It's where rule need to be enforced. Good
Yeah.
policy need to be enforced. Good leaders, like the community, not the community, but the country leader, the president and the vice president. And there are 5 vice presidents, if you guys did not know. So there are 5 vice presidents. So if they can enforce a constitution where everybody have a right, but at the same time enforce those laws that there shouldn't be any rapes, there shouldn't be any domestic violence, there should be education for all, especially young girls. Some of them even sometimes just literally hang themselves, and kill themselves because they're being forced into certain things that they do not want.
They don't want to participate.
So there's a lot of things going on within South Sudan, and I hope that our leader can hear this and they can come together to unite the communities and to make sure that the country need to have healings, because we do not have healing right now. Healing, it's so important in us, because we are so divided with 64 different tribes that we have within South Sudan. It's even make it even harder because we all speak different languages.
Right.
And the only common language that we have sometimes is English and Arabic. And most of the people, in like almost 12 million South Sudanese, do not speak English or Arabic. So it's practically pretty hard. So it will really involve great leader who really care about their country, about their communities, not being divided within tribes. So that's the only way that this country can move forward. Thank you.
Wow, I'm glad I asked. Did you have something to say, Namal? Because you had plenty to say, right? And this is so important. Everything that you're saying, to be able to. I did some research while you were just saying what you were saying, and it says childbirth is never without risk. We know that, but in expectant mothers in South Sudan, having a baby is particularly perilous. For every 100,000 babies born alive in South Sudan, 789 women will die giving birth. And this is from Islamic-relief.org. I'm going to put this information here because this is very informative. And so it's a lot of statistics here. I'm just putting the whole thing. I just copied and pasted the link for you all to deep dive into it at your convenience, but I want to make sure that you're educated by some of the things that they're sharing here today. And as far as in South Africa, during the 7-year period before the South Africa demographic health survey in 2016, the pregnancy-related mortality ratio was 536 pregnancy-related deaths per 100,000 live births. So for every 1,000 live births, about 5 women die during pregnancy or within 2 months after pregnancy. I'm going to put that article there too. That is unheard of. And it's most likely, I'm assuming I'm assuming a lot, but this article will tell you what it's about. So I don't want to assume anything. I just want to give you the articles and then you can review them at your own convenience. But that's why it's so important to support any of the initiatives that are being mentioned here today, because these are statistics that are alarming, that are mind-blowing actually. So listen, when we come back after this commercial break, we're going to talk more about how every girl wins. Every girl should win. There's an award ceremony coming up on March 13th, and they're going to be celebrating Every Girl Wins. We encourage you to make sure that you go and like the Facebook page of Every Girl Wins, and then also maybe set some kind of alert, because on March 13th, they're going to be honoring at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 90 honorees. So you want to be in your seat for that. I will make sure we talk more with these two representatives right after we come back from this commercial break.
I'm attorney Charles Everidge. I started out representing insurance companies until my father was seriously injured at work. 4 of his fingers were amputated. Our family went through a lot, so I know what you're going through as an injured worker. If you've been hurt on the job, call me now. I'll fight to get the workers' comp benefits you may deserve. I'll fight for you like family. Put my experience to work for you. Call 704-457-5000, the first call for injured workers.
All right, everyone, we are back and we're talking with Dr. Caroline Opinde and Namal Day, who are both representing Every Girl Wins, which is an initiative that's been spearheaded by Dr. Christine Kozachuk. I would like for each of you to share, let's start with you, Dr. Caroline, why you became a part of Every Girl Wins.
Thank you. I became part of Every Girl Wins first and foremost because of the name Every Girl Wins.
Yeah.
When Dr. Christine reached out to me, I hadn't known her for a very long time, and I would see her talk about Every Girl Wins, Every Girl Wins. And as an ambassador for women and girls, from way back in Kenya, from when I was little, I was always pushing for women and girls to have a seat at the table, or even create a seat and a table for ourselves, and to bring our own tables and seats and sit in decision-making positions. And so part of that, I actually attributed to my upbringing with my father and my mother. I grew up in a home, a loving home with a father and a mother who I saw them doing a lot of good in the community. I saw my father, who was in the medical profession, opening up his home, our home where we grew up, to disadvantaged and marginalized people who could not afford medical care. And because he worked in the medical profession, and some of the people who lived far off in hard to reach areas and would travel for many, many, many hours or distances to come to the hospital where my dad worked as a medical doctor. And if it was too late for them to go home, my dad would invite these patients of his, the outpatient, or sometimes someone has come to the hospital to visit their relative and they didn't know what to do, and they would go to the doctor and say, Dr. Opinde, I don't know where I could go, and where I grew up, so it was a bit rural. We had everything we needed, but at the same time, it was a rural area. It's in a small town called Tambach. It's become now very famous because Kenya's second president was a high school teacher there. And of course, when he passed, there was a lot of documentary and things that were done. So it's a small town, really. And so I saw that happening in our home. And I realized that whatever I have been given, whatever I have been blessed with, of course, when my cup is full, it overflows, and it overflows to those who are near and dear to me. But it is upon me to draw them closer and to share with them what I have, because your cup can be overflowing, but you are wasting it. Your cup can be overflowing, but you're not drawing anybody near to you. And so I realized that from a very young age, that resources that we have, the blessings that we have in form of blessings, in form of material wealth, are meant to be shared by those who are near and dear to us. And near and dear to us doesn't mean only your relatives. It could be somebody else who is close to you, who you can see. Because if you cannot help somebody who you can see, around you, how do you expect, for you to grow and to have your cup filled? I remember I was watching, this is a very interesting thing. I remember watching the movie 2012. And in the movie 2012, there was this character who had been given the key to get into the ark. And he by Dalai Lama. It's in the movie, so this didn't happen for real. So when he went to the Dalai Lama, and Dalai Lama gave him the key to get into the ark because there's going to be a flood. And he was asking too many questions. And the Dalai Lama took the kettle with tea and started filling the cup, and the cup was running over. It was overflowing. And he was telling him, master, you need to stop. And it's at that point, even though that was not the meaning of what they said, but my interpretation for it was, if I were that guy, I would have gone and gotten another cup. Instead of saying, oh, but it's running over, stop pouring it. I thought to myself, if I were that gentleman, I would have just gotten another cup and filled it, And that's the one thing that I learned from a very young age. When there is resources overflowing, get a cup, give it to somebody else. Get a cup, give it to somebody else. So when there is a time of overflow in your life, where you have those years of plenty, do not just keep it for yourself. It is also a time for you to raise others. And that is why I joined Every Girl Wins, because I saw what Dr. Christine was doing. And I thought to myself, I can do something to support her so that whatever it is that is overflowing from her cup, I can get it and share it in South Africa. I can get it and share it with others. And so when I joined the Every Girl Wins team, remember, we are all volunteers. Dr. Christine isn't paying me to do this. Just in case you're wondering.
She's quite honored to have you doing it. I can tell you that. She loves her representatives.
We are volunteering, we are giving back. So as our cups are overflowing, I thought to myself, I know Nyamal, I want to bring up, I asked Nyamal, would you be interested to come to Every Girl Wins and represent South Sudan? And she said, yes. I remember, Nyamal, it was very late at night, my time. It was in the evening in Central Standard Time. And I remember Nyamal responded on Messenger and said, yes, Dr. Opinde, I want to be part of it. And that's how it was. Then I met another lady again from Eswatini, formerly known as Swaziland, the Kingdom of Eswatini. It's in Africa. It's actually a neighbor of South Africa. I know Mary Dube, and I asked her. First, I nominated her for an award, even though South Africa is not Eswatini. They're two different countries. For those who know the geography, actually, Eswatini is inside South Africa. There are two countries which are actually inside South Africa. Lesotho and the Kingdom of Eswatini, and both of those are African kingdoms. So I invited Mary Dube, and I asked her, come. And that is the whole thing, analogy of when your cup is running over, bring others. Someone might say, when you sit at the table, make room for another woman. So Nyamal is thriving in South Sudan. Dudu is thriving in Eswatini. Every girl is winning. And this is the thing. For those of us who are in this women empowerment activism, many women say they are women activists, but they don't want to create a seat at the table for another woman because they are afraid someone will come and surpass them. I am happy when Yamal surpasses me.
Yes.
I am
Isn't
happy
it an honor?
when Mary Dudu Dube surpasses me, because why? When I share that cup and I take it and it's running over and I give it to her and she does something extraordinary with it, everybody wins. Every girl wins. So it's not about me. It's about other
preaching.
women. And that is why.
She is preaching.
And that is why this Every Girl Wins movement is really, really going
She's
and taking the world by a storm. And one of the things, if you look at the manifestos or the guidelines, the vision of Every Girl Wins, there is life literacy program. This is not just about talking. Today, there's so many conferences, International Women's Day and everything. What are you doing after the other 364 days, 65 days in a leap year? What are you doing about International Women's Day? Because every day on a day when girls are winning. Every day got to be a day when women are winning. So many of you plan events, you spend a lot of money for one day. It's like that person who's fattening a turkey for Christmas, but all this time people are starving in your house. And then Christmas comes or Thanksgiving comes and you're celebrating with turkey, and then after that people overfeed. When you overfeed, what happens? You know what happens when you overfeed? On a day like today, everybody is giving people awards and all these things. I want to challenge you. Do something in January and in February and in April and in June, July, August, September, October, November, December. Do something. The same power and energy that you are putting on this day, use it to change lives, to make an impact. Because one day event is a wow thing. What about the other days? And you can only make an impact when you have at least 7 interactions with somebody. They say it takes 21 days to break a habit. Some people say it takes 40 days. That's why Jesus in the Bible fasted for 40 days. When you do it consistently 40 times, you train someone 40 times. They attend your master classes 40 times. They attend your women empowerment sessions 40 times. If it's 1 hour, that's 40 hours. If it's 2 hours, that's 80 hours. That's a whole year of training. You make a difference in the life of that woman. And that's why, ladies and gentlemen, I do what I do at Every Girl Wins. And of course, that is also what we all do to empower women. It's not about talk. It's not about today conferences. It's not about their words. It's far much more than that.
Wow. Okay. Drop the mic.
I know. Let's just give it to her.
That's why she's a part of Every Girl Wins. Okay. Right there. Listen, you all can email info@everygirlwins.com to learn more about the organization. You can also go to herright.net to actually sign a petition that is there for every woman to have her rights honored. It's a simple petition that Dr. Christine Kozachuk has put together. I encourage you to go to herright.net today, sign that petition to say that you support her right. Her right is important. All right, tell us right quick in your closing comments. You know how you be like, I'm gonna pass the mic. Nimal. Here you go. Why did you become a part of Every Girl Wins?
Dr. Caroline, she's a powerhouse.
Right. You're slaying in the spirit now. You can't even think.
I know, right?
I'm tongues over here. I
just can't top that. She's just amazing. She's a phenomenon. You have to recognize a woman who's training other women to become who they are. And Dr. Caroline, Thank you. I always say, a lot of this all the time to her. I say, thank you, thank you, thank you, because you have to say thank you to those people, who show you the road, who show you how to do things, who show you, who believe in you that you can do it. And I know that Dr. Caroline, every day that we talk, or every week, practically we talk every week, or even some other days, it's more like if I said, I can't do that, who said you cannot do it,
Girl, I
Of
just
course
gave you
you
a cup.
can. Of course you can. I
do
said
it.
I
I
can't
just
do
gave you
this
that
too
cup.
much. She said, yes, you can. And that's the power of having Dr. Caroline, behind you to push you to be at the level that where you don't want to be. But I know that she told me one time, she said, you will get there. That's also that is going to be yours. You're gonna continue putting in that Cordial Care International over there. So, and that's what we're going to do as Cordial Care International, to make sure that the initiative that we are doing back home, they are not impossible because of somebody else, but they are impossible because of Dr. Caroline. Dr. Caroline been working on my team to make sure that all of those are being accomplished. Now, if we talk about Every Girl Win Days, the day that Dr. Caroline inducted me, she's like, I nominate you to become a representative of your country. And I'm like, I think for 2 days, I don't think I invited her, because I was thinking about it. I was like, that's a lot of work, and it's free. Okay. So the next day I inboxed her. I said, yes, I can do it. Here we are. And that's why I said, it's really good, to have women like Dr. Caroline, Dr. Christine's, women like you, who passed away for other women. And this give me the opportunity to say, what, I can do better for my communities and for for the South Sudan country in general, even at the global impacts, at the global levels. It's so important, to hear about these young girls going through so much in their own communities where they can actually get the support that they need. And then not only on top of that too, when you look at it, talking about child marriages, in a global world, it will really enforce the government to say, what, we are enforced to do this. We are enforced to make sure that things are done accordingly. And that's how it should be done, because South Sudan is behind the rest of the most of the world country. Right. Don't get me wrong. It is behind. It still is. Just like I mentioned earlier, a lot of women are not educated when they actually should be. And that is really a concern thing to do. Yeah. Now, I did a research on with Dr. Molly Sequarts, as I mentioned earlier. I talked to these women within South Sudan itself. They said to the point where their husband do not even want them to have birth controls, to prevent themselves to not to get pregnant, because they know the consequences of raising a child in a country that you live in probably less than $2 per day, right. US dollar. And then nobody else is supporting you. There's so many droughts going on. There's so many flood going on. So many children are dying because of the diseases, and so many more. When you look at that, these women do not have a voice. And then on top of that, when you're trying to speak up, your husband start to beat you up and start doing so many more that you don't want them to do. That's why they're so quiet, to not to speak about what's going on within South Sudan. And that's one of the reasons why too, on top of that, is the reason why I said, what, we can actually talk about the child marriages. We can talk about empowering our women, because right. Now when you talk about empowering women, I get attacked all the time. They're like, what are you talking about? This is culture. You cannot change it. I said, no, this is beyond culture. This is not a culture anymore. You are slaving our woman. You shouldn't be slaving our woman. And then on top of that, I said, who give birth to you? They said woman. And then I said, you should respect those women because they are your mother. And they're the reason why you are in this world.
Now, see, she done passed the baton over to you, and you going in too. So between the two of y'all can just change the whole world. I promise you. I promise you.
So that's one of the reasons why I said, what? I can be the representative of South Sudan, and make a change. And the fact that, that we have reward coming up, most of these women do not even know that I've been watching them. Sometimes they just see me, a random person, who just said, hi, hello, how are you? And that's about it. But they do not know that, I'm watching every second, every minute of their work that they are contributing into the world and into the South Sudan. Because I know that for a fact, one South Sudanese women are united as one and they're speaking. Just because there's 64 different tribes doesn't mean that they can be separated. It means that they should be united, and that's the only way that they can tackle these men to say, you know, what you're doing is wrong.
Wow. Well, you know what? I don't think that we can say much more today on this show because we have gotten in everything we can. Every Girl Wins is something that you all can definitely tune in on International Every Girl Wednesday, March 13th at 11 o'clock a.m. The goal and the vision is to have every girl represented around the globe. And this is a flag that was drawn by one of the representatives with Dr. Kozachuk. This is Dr. Christine Kozachuk, the visionary behind Every Girl Wins. And I want to salute and honor you, Dr. Christine, for having these representatives that are going to be here. We're here yesterday, today, and we'll be here tomorrow. Tomorrow, we're going to hear from 2 additional representatives. One is in Sweden and one is in Ethiopia. So be sure to tune back in tomorrow right here on the Kim Jacobs Show at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I do have to play one more brief commercial and then we're going to close out. We got to get off this show. It's got to end, right? This is ridiculous. This has been so much information, but one last commercial and we're going to close out.
Nothing says I love you more than Final Expense Insurance Whole Life Protection with Funeral Advocacy nationwide, saving you and your family 30 to 80% off funerals and cremations. Nothing says I love you more than Get Insured Solutions, LLC. GetInsured.Solutions, 704-499-3616.
All right, this is it. And as we are closing out, I see all of your comments. And yes, Niketa, I'm sure that they are interested in having you from Kenya join in to be a part of this initiative. And Dr. Christine Kozachuk is on here and seeing you, Mom. I see your comments and I see all of your comments. I've been posting them up throughout the broadcast. But there is an opportunity that you need to be aware of. Tell them about that right quick, Dr. Caroline, and we're going to close out.
Thank you so much for this opportunity. Ladies and gentlemen, we would like to invite you to join us at the NGO Whisperer Global Fellowship Program. This year, we are looking at having 20 fellows, and we are giving the position of 15 scholarships to women and girls. We are talking about women and girls in the nonprofit sector who are making a difference in other people's lives, or women and girls who are social entrepreneurs. So there are 15 slots for women. We have 20 slots, which is scholarship. 6-month rigorous program for 6 months. You will go through training on how to build a sustainable nonprofit or social enterprise. I would like to have 15 women in that class, but also have men. So for men, we give them 5 scholarships. For women, we have 15. And I would like you who is listening to join us. Classes will begin in July to December. Right now, go to ngowhisperer.com/fellowship. Put in your application. Deadline is the 28th of March, 2022.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. Thank you all so much for tuning in to this episode of the Kim Jacobs Show. If you would like to have more of this type of programming, I am encouraging you all to pour into our broadcast. The only way we can sustain this level of programming is if we have supporters like yourselves, online contributors. So choose any of the ways to just keep the program thriving. Just like you have PBS and you have all of these different networks that are really based on community contributions. Pour into the Kim Jacobs Show and make it a program that you get to continue seeing every day as we bring balance to this world, one household at a time. Thank you, ladies. You guys are amazing.
Thank you.
What a beautiful, beautiful experience having you all on. I can't wait till tomorrow. And I'm sure you all will be in the virtual studio audience. Stay backstage for 1 second. I'd like to talk to you guys. And everybody have a great rest of your day. We'll see you tomorrow as we continue to celebrate International Women's Month right here on the Kim Jacobs Show. Have a great one, everybody, and I'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I'm Kim Jacobs, host of the Kim Jacobs Show, where we're bringing balance to the world, one household at a time. Listen, we go live every weekday, Monday through Friday at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I bring guests on that talk about their backstories, things that they've had to overcome to become who they are today. Many of them are balancing and juggling life, and they've become experts in different fields. So they're sharing tips with you to make your life just a little bit easier. Many times as a guest in the studio audience, you'll get a chance to walk away with a missing piece of the puzzle that might be missing in your life. Let's go on this journey together, and I look forward to seeing you Monday through Friday at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on the Kim Jacobs Show.